Time to shine, y'all. You guys, if you follow my shenanigans, you might remember built those pay station roofs. Those pay station roofs there out of pipe. That was just before they opened the place. I shot some video of coping that, making a pattern to cope that 4-inch pipe on a 412 pitch, and this is what it's for. We got this going. The deer are coming to visit. I don't know if they need a car wash or not. This is what this is the pipe that I coped on that pitch. 5 of them cemented in the ground. These are cemented in the ground, 6 foot, 30-inch diameter hole. And this assembly right here is going to be an awning. It's going to come out like this on a 12-2 pitch, and there's 4 spaces between these 5 pipes we've got set in concrete here, and in between each of those spaces will be a vacuum cleaner. So you pull up here under this awning and vacuum out your car or truck or whatever. And we're waiting on some metal. The issue with the steel is actually kind of funny, because I drew up a plan for these pipes to be set where this thing would be 60 feet total with an overhang on each side, and those pipes from the 2 outside pipes center to center would be 58 feet. Well, my buddy that owns the car wash, I asked him, I said, do you need me there when you set those pipes in? He said, nah, man, I've set a bunch of posts for buildings and stuff. I don't really need you there for that. But he forgot to look at the drawing that I made. You know, he wasn't thinking that there was a reason why I had those that way. Well, the reason was, you know, the 6-inch channel we buy at 20 foot. You weld 3 of those together, you got 60 foot. The tubing we're going to put on top to screw our roofing metal onto, that tubing comes 24 foot. 2.5 joints of that tubing, you know, gives you 60 foot. He's got these poles set 61 foot 8 inches outside to outside, and I'll show you what that does to kind of what we're doing here. If you look down here at the end, you'll see how where I've run my 6-inch channel, right down here at the end, we got to put this little piece on, you know, and our tubing will be like that too. They didn't realize that was kind of a thing, you know, that I drew it up in a way that the metal worked out, and it's still going to work out. You know, they ain't got to worry about that. Well, you know, that's probably what he figured all along. He said, oh, hell, wait till CB gets here. He'll figure out something. But anyway, that's what's going on, and we'll get back to this. And take another look at it as we go. But, you know, as you can see, the metal I ordered is not going to be enough. You know, we need to keep on coming with our channel right here, and I've got one more piece over there that's not even going to make 20 feet, because I had to take a 20-foot piece and cut that little chunk off to finish the corner to make that side long enough to reach the 61 foot 8 inches plus the overhang at the end. But anyway, you know, we'll get it. So that's a look at that, and shot footage of how I made the patterns to cope these. And first thing I did was cut these off. They just set full 21 foot sticks in the ground. You know, you buy a pipe, usually it's 21 foot or 42. They set 21 footers, and they wanted the minimum of 8 feet. So we measured up 8 feet right there, and then just run a line level across. And I used a line level and marked them and cut them off. So that's where we're at with it now. We got more metal coming. We're going to be filling these poles tomorrow. The plan is to fill those full of concrete with a piece of rebar going down the center, make them good and stiff. So I got the old dolly and went and got that concrete and dropped it off here. And we're hoping to be able to truss this and weld it up so that it's freestanding without any columns out here. But we don't have an engineer. We're redneck engineering the thing. We're going to put it together and I've already seen that I don't think it's going to be strong enough unless we do some trusses of some sort underneath our pipe. So I drew up a plan yesterday for some trusses that we could put under the pipe, and maybe we get a rain day or something, I'll build those at the shop. But the idea is, we figured in the beginning, if it needs posts on this other side here, we'll put posts. But I keep saying, if there's some way we can build it where it doesn't need those posts, that'd be awesome, because it'd be nice if it was open out here. But yeah, that's it for now. We'll get back to looking at this, and as it goes along, and then you'll get a better idea what I'm doing. You'll start smelling what I'm stepping in. Got to make a pipe coat pattern. Gonna put gonna be putting some 4.5-inch pipe together on a 212 pitch. Now, so I'm gonna have to cut 5 of these, so it's worth making me a pattern. And we're going to be making a wrap pattern to coat the pipe. And I made this pattern, I made this thing out of aluminum to show the 212 pitch. Like this right here would be plumb. This would be the 212 pitch. That black line right there would be level. The guy in the do-rag right here, he's cool. So as you can see, you got plumb and then some. And I'm going to talk about kind of the way I'm going to make this. And this one's going to be like, it's not going to be a measured layout, really. It's going to be kind of, I'm going to just do it with experience, sort of, and make some marks, make a cut, and make it fit, kind of thing. The reason that there's 2 marks right here is, the first thing I did, on a 212 pitch, if you figure, what is that per inch? This piece right here, all total, this piece of aluminum, when I grabbed it, was about 18 inches. So I could, I could say, well, in 18 inches, that's 1.5 feet. A 212 pitch would be 3 inches. Here at 12 inches, it's 2 inches. It'd be 1 inch at 6 inches, the drop. Well, what is it on this pipe? This pipe's 4.5 inches. And I come up with 3/4 of an inch. This pitch, it would be 3. So I made me a couple lines at 3/4 of an inch. Now let's put some coke marks on this and see how it looks. So with 2 marks 3/4 of an inch apart, I put one line on the pipe, and then I made a guess and put one line straight across from there. And once again, I didn't lay that out perfect. I don't feel like I need to. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, one of these, like on this side right here, the bottom would be here, and then on the other side, the bottom would be there. And my cope, my other 4-inch pipe that's going to lay into this, it's the same size as this pipe, and you could get really into, laying this out with some kind of a pattern, measurements that go. Measurements that go every, so far. There's lots of ways to do it. I'm just going to guess. I'm gonna see if I can do it in a way that it looks right. And I know it ain't gonna be exactly right, and I'm gonna have to goof with it. This one I just did, I think not round enough. I'm not making it round enough. So we'll scratch that. Again, I'm looking at the pipe because the pipe that's going to cope into this is the same size as the pipe I'm putting the mark on, and I'm just wanting to kind of go with the same contour. So let's go to the other part. We're turning it pretty much 180 degrees. That one, looking at it, looked too deep. Too round or whatever. I'm going to do it again. Just trying to eyeball it. I think that one's too deep again. So now I'm going to look at the side of it. Kind of join it together. See, I went from that to that. You know what we're doing here is a piece of scrap. I ain't worried about it. Let's cut it, see what we got. See here where that 3/4 of an inch comes into play. If we're on a 212 pitch, and that's 3/16 a pitch per inch, and you got something that's 4.5 inches wide, 4.5 times 3/16 is 3/4. That means your piece of pipe that's fitting into this like this That's my arm, but imagine that was a piece of pipe. The bottom of that piece of pipe on the angle is going to hit right here, and then 4.5 inches away it's going to hit right here where I made these marks 3/4 of an inch apart. Maybe I can show you that better when I throw it up on the table. What if we look at it like that? Can you smell what I'm stepping in now? I mean, are you picking up what I'm putting down or what? We're pretty close on our angle here. If we wanted to hold it up there and really look close, let's do like this. So it looks like we got a little gap there. And so I could grind a little bit out of the back of here, or maybe just go ahead and make my pattern from this, and maybe make my pattern a little better in the places it needs to be. This is where Miss Princess Diane makes a huge mess, ripping up her thing that she tears up here in the tool room. And then there's all kinds of cardboard all over the place. I cleaned it up recently, so it's not too much of a mess right now. She'll rip some more stuff off there and make a huge mess. Won't you, sweetheart? Miss Princess. Yeah, and I'll clean it up for you like I always do. Of course. So on this pattern deal, next thing I'm going to use is, this is the separator piece of cardboard from a 30 pack of beer. I have to get these from my buddies now because I quit drinking. Oh, that's a nice big piece of cardboard. Baby, you're killing it. You're killing it. Yeah, that whole area right there be covered in shredded cardboard. But as long as the princess is happy. So I got to take this, and like these things, you got these rounded things. You got to tear them off, and then I might not even tear them off, because what I can do, these things are real nice. My mom had this thing from back when she was running a shirt making operation, and she cut her parts with this for the heat transfers that she put on shirts. Yeah, see, that makes a nice cut on the end. You can tear this off, but if you tear this off, you don't get as good of an edge. See them little dickers there sticking off? You don't get as good of an edge. You're better off probably just, now that makes, and this edge and that edge isn't bad. So let's go see about turning this into a pattern. So the way I'm gonna do this on this deal is I'm gonna make a half pattern out of this cardboard, and then I'll probably use it to make a half pattern out of paper, and then I'll probably laminate that. And the lamination will be waterproof, and this isn't, but this is good to wrap around there. And on a half pattern, what I need is half the pipe. Project Calc. These do inches and feet and everything. I've been using these for a long time. But anyways, this is 4.5 inch pipe. If I say 4 1/2, 4 1/2 inch, put into the Project Calc. All right. That's the OD of the pipe. I want to know what the pipe is all the way around. Times 3.1416 equals 14 1/8 of an inch all the way around that pipe. I want half that. I know it's 7 1/16, but let's say it's not that easy. Let's hit divided by 2. 7 1/16. That's pretty smart. All right, so I'm going to cut this 7 1/16 first thing. 7 1/16. I like making these half patterns because whenever I've only put a few minutes into hacking that out. It's, I'm not precise. But one side's always better than the other when you do that. I'd say this one's better. Let's go with this one. So I've kind of got to eyeball what is fairly straight up and down and what is pretty much the center line. And if there's any places where it doesn't fit real good, you could adjust that right now. Half a pattern. Let's cut it. Got a good half a pattern here. I adjusted it a little. You can trim it, whatever, and get it where when you're fitting good up there on your cope, you're still nice and square, 90 degrees at the bottom. That'll help you line it up. So that's a pretty good half a pattern. And you can make a good whole pattern off a half a pattern because it's just gonna be like a mirror image like this, and then you can make the other side exactly like this side other than the opposite. Yeah. See, I put some of this big newsprint paper on a cardboard box, sat down on a cooler, sat down on my dinner bucket, and I drew this out like that. So I'll cut that out. You got to turn this laminator on and warm it up until it's ready. Kind of like a 81 F250 I used to have. And when it's ready, this light comes on. See? Ready. Alright. And then this thing that looks like something my wife would put on. It's two plastic lamination things with my pattern inside of it. So let's run that through there. So there's what we got now. This thing looks a lot like one of Tina's sport bras, but I got to cut this top out to the shape of the coat. Had to unload that truck with this 1.5 by 1.5 3/16 wall square tubing, and it was all that toolcat wanted to lift. And I got some of them spread out over here. We're just gonna take a look and get back to work. I had a little delay this morning. Worked on my truck a little bit while it was raining, and I wanted to show a look at this point. These little trusses I made to stiffen the pipe. Built these on the table back at the shop, and got the angle wrong, which that was cool. couple times through this, I know that this is we're going to do this awning on a 12-2 pitch, and a couple times I've said 12-4 pitch. And when I laid out my jig to build those on the table, when I laid out my jig to build those trusses, by God, I laid out a 4-2 or a 12-4, not a 12-2. So I got the angle of them trusses wrong, which what I'm going to do is I'm just not going to tell anybody. And when we get this up there and our pipes and our awning are on a 12-2 pitch, these things will still be angled back some, which obviously, you know, you got to go along with what I say, because that's the way I meant to do it in the first place. To make it work, all I had to do was change the angle of that cut right there. So that's what we're doing. We're going with that. It's going to look even better than I thought, because even when I make a mistake, I'm still right. You know, I mean, if you think I'm wrong, you got to remember the welder's always right. And if you think I'm wrong, you got to remember the welder's always right. So anytime there's an argument about something like that, you just, you know, you got to understand that yes, the welder's always right. So I got some tubing I'm gonna continue putting together here, and we had to wait on tubing. That first block of tubing over there is welded to the pipe, and that was all the tubing we had, and now I'm moving forward with some more. So we'll take a look at this deal maybe a little later on. Welded them trusses up yesterday, and I was realizing that I wanted to go ahead and get them on there because they'd be harder to weld once all this tubing is put in place. Welded them, I think I welded all them with an 1/8 inch 7018, and over here, dropped my phone, welded the pipes to the channel with 532 5P plus, just downhill that. And all right, so yeah, let's get to work. Every once in a while I feel like I should go check on Miss Princess Diane and make sure she's doing good. And I got a new thing in the tool room that I put in to check on her, so I want to show you that. You see, a lot of times she'll be in that bed up there and I can't see her. So I put in this mirror. And this is the mirror that I'm supposed to use when I shave my head to make sure that I didn't miss a spot on the back. But I got it screwed up there where I can see Miss Diane sleeping in her little bed up there. You see little precious little princess up there sleeping. Just so beautiful. Yeah, so I told Tina I couldn't check the back of my head no more because I had to screw the mirror up there. So she got me another one. But sometimes Miss Princess Diane, well, she'll want to be up in her castle up there. And when she's up there, sometimes I can't always see when she's in there. What I was thinking I could do right here is I could take that mirror and I could put that other mirror up here somewhere on an angle where I could see in the castle and check and make sure Miss Princess Diane is okay. But then Miss Tina's going to have to get me another mirror, because I use that when I shave my head to check and make sure I didn't miss a spot. I don't give a damn really if I miss a spot or not. Depends on where I'm going. If I was coming to your wedding or something, then you probably want me to make sure I didn't miss a spot on the back of my head. But anyway, I figured I'd show you that. I'm gonna cut me some flat bar to tack on here. Maybe help hold that in place while I'm welding it up. So with that one tacked up on the layout, I'll flip it over so my flat bar is not in the way, and I'll build the other two on top of it. Yeah, that'd be cool. Welding on a ladder, I ain't real far off the ground, but one of the things you'll notice when you're doing this, the weight of your cable, your welding cable, a lot of times will mess you up. You don't want to leave it hanging all the way to the ground. Generally, you'll throw your welding cable over something if you can, or try to find some way to get it thrown over something where it's taking the steel here is taking a lot of the weight of that cable, so that the cable that I'm holding up is not near as much. There's another thing to that. Now obviously, a lot of situations you should be wearing a harness and you should be tied off. Sometimes, like if you're just on a halfway up a 6-foot ladder or something, you might not be tied off. And when you're welding, you got your shield down, you can't see what's going on, you can't see what other people are doing. What if you fall? If you've got your cable thrown over the steel like that, let me tell you what you need to do. Hold on to your stinger, hold on to that cable. That cable's not going to break. Now, if you fall and you're holding on to that cable and you can hang on to it, it might slide across the steel up there that you threw it over. And you might still fall, but you ain't going to fall near as fast or near as hard. And in a lot of cases, it won't slide much, and it'll end up, holding you. Give you a chance to figure out what to do. You got your welding shield down, you can't even see what's happening. But that welding cable, especially in some cases, you might be able to reach out and grab both sides of it. You know, if you were falling and you're on your way down and you could get a hold of this, it's something more than nothing. You know, if you're halfway up a 6-foot ladder, you're only 3 or 4 feet off the ground. But I've even had times where, you know, somebody bumped the ladder or something and I almost fell, and I grabbed that cable and I would have fell, but I didn't. I just caught myself, straightened the ladder back up with my feet, and I was fine. But just something to think of. Have that cable thrown over the steel, and if you got your helmet down, you're welding and something happens, grab a hold of that cable. It's strong. You ain't gonna break that cable. I come home, sit down on the porch here by the break room, was fooling with that video. Now I realized there's a part of that when I made the base plates for them last 2 posts I put in. There's a part of that I didn't get any film of it at all, and I should have. Because the idea that I used to do that worked really well. Where we were putting those 2 posts and that concrete underneath of that awning, that's some old concrete. It's been there a long time. It was there back from when that was a parking lot of a Long John Silver's restaurant. And that Long John Silver's was there before I can remember. But anyway, it's, you know, it's thick concrete. It's probably 6, 8, 10 inches thick. And it's shifted, not really cracked and moved as much as just settled. And that concrete, you know, who knows what angle it's on. You know, it'd be hard to measure. So what I decided to do when we talked about putting them other 2 posts in, I knew I was going to have to come back to the shop and make some base plates. We didn't have any plate down there at all. But what I did was, the way I made those base plates, instead of being out there on the site and trying to figure out what angle we were going to cut this pipe and weld on this base plate, here's what I did. I cut me 2 12 by 12 3/8 inch thick plates. I went ahead and put the holes in the corners of them to bolt it down to the concrete with the anchors. And I put a hole in the center of that was like probably a 4 5/8 inch hole. And the reason I did that is make it easy to put in and make it easy to match up down there. When we got down there, I just took my 20-foot pieces of pipe, took my 12-2 cope jig and coped one end and cleaned it up with a grinder. Then we took a measurement from the concrete up to the low side of the pipe it was fitting into, got that number, marked it on there, cut that pipe off square. Well, once we had our pipes pretty close, you know, we took that base plate that I had put the hole in, slid it up onto the pipe, put a ratchet strap on the pipe to hold it up, and we just stood that pole up, put it in place, and tacked it at the top. Once we got it plumb, we took a ratchet strap off, let that base plate just come down. We let that base plate just come down, and with that hole, see, we had some adjustment on the base plate where it went onto the pipe. So we went ahead and took redhead anchors and drilled and bolted the plate down to the concrete. Then the the plate could go on whatever angle it wanted, and the pipe was in that hole. And then I welded it. And that worked good. And that's the only time I'd ever done that for a base plate before. I don't see why it would ever hurt anything that, you know, the center of that pipe's hollow down. And that trick worked good. At the time to shine car wash. Here's our awning framing. I don't think I'll have a very good video of this job. It's kind of been scattered out where I did a little work on it here and a little work on it there, and had some other work in between, but this is what it is. And originally I had quoted a lot bigger pipe and a lot more steel for it, and the owner thought that that was more steel than it needed and wanted me to whittle a steel down a little bit. We went down in pipe diameter, went a little smaller with some of the framing of it overall. And so what we've got here, I'm just going to go over what we do have here. They augured 5 holes, 6 feet in the ground, 30 inches in diameter, and cemented these 4-inch pipes in there. I did shoot video of making the pipe cope pattern for that, and that pipe cope pattern worked great. All of these 5 pipes down through this row were cut on that pattern, and the 2 posts, the post I just put right there and right there, were also cut with that pattern, which is a 4-inch pipe cope to 4-inch pipe cope on a 12-2 pitch. We're on a 12-2 angle here, and these trusses, we got these little 1.5 by 1.5 3/16 wall square tube trusses on 3 of the pipes, but not the outer ones. This thing is really flexible. If you climb up on it, it's you can shake it around. There's a lot of wiggle to it, and we don't know how much that's going to stiffen up by screwing the roof on it. Now the steel that'll be on the roof is going to be steel just like it's on the roof of the car wash. I don't know if I can get you a shot of that or not, but we have a place that makes this steel roofing. It's in Belington, not too far from here, and it looks, you know, they've got the blue roof there on the car wash, and right there on the side you can see where they've got white. Logan's coming to do some painting on this thing, paint these posts. But what's going to end up happening, they're going to lay block on these end walls, and they're talking about laying block right here and framing up a stud wall, and each one of these end walls would get filled in with a wall, but it's not going to be filled in the back. The back would be, this would still be open. So maybe that would help a little less vacuum noise for the people if they live over there in that apartment or something. But that's a look at it for now, and we'll see what all they do to it. I'll probably go ahead and put a video together, but maybe we can shoot some more video after they do some more work on this thing. It's kind of, not really, it's kind of redneck engineering, you know. We didn't have an absolute plan in the beginning. We thought, oh, we'll get some steel, we'll put it together, we'll put it up, we'll see what we got to do, and we're still in the process of doing that. But we're liking it. I think it's going to do what we want it to do, and you know, we're going to make it do it. So anyways, that's what's going to go on here. I don't know how long it'll be before we actually see the 4 vacuum cleaners here that are going to go here. It might be a while. This is a do it as you go and work on it when you got time sort of a project. So that's a look at it, and I'll try and put a video together so I can get something posted on it. But I'm going to apologize now, because I'd say I didn't do a very good job making a video on this, just to make the long story short. But I do want to just get some video, and you can see what we got here. We got 4-inch pipe. The 5 runs of 4-inch pipe, 1.5 by 1.5, 3/16 wall square tubing, 2 feet on center, and you know, a tube 1.5 on each end with a 6-inch channel cap in the front and 6-inch channel cap at the back, and that's pretty much it. So we'll see what all else they come up with on it, and that's it for now.